Yeah, we're going to just turn this light off. So, good job. We're going to make this night a little more intimate moment, right? The reason for that are we good? Is that shadowing both sides? You okay? I've got a shadow right. One of the reasons, not only because it's we're coming up to a long weekend this weekend, which means we won't be here next Monday, but we thought we'd just finish off the series because you guys have asked questions of your pack leaders. I think it was important to revisit some stuff this evening. So one of the things we talked about over sort of the 8 weeks was different aspects of our life where we don't settle for less. But it's like anything. I remember when I gave up smoking. I smoked for 11 years. Started when I was about 12, and I smoked for 11 years. At the start it was hard because I was only 12. Had to pinch my money, you know, for my ciggies, and or pinch ciggies or bottom, you know, whatever you call it nowadays. I don't know what you call it. So the challenge for me after I gave that up is that there was this habit that I had formed. So the issue for me wasn't the giving up. When I made a decision to give up ciggies, it was just done. I was really clear. I was right at the moment. Nobody forced me. Nobody said, you know, it causes cancer. I knew all that, you know. I just gave it up. One, because I made a decision that was just for my life, and that's how it was. The difficulty was I had to, there was this routine that I kind of used to do, you know, and there was this time where I would, at night time, I would have my dinner, you know, and then after I'd had dinner, I would go out on the veranda, you know, with a cup of coffee, and I'd light up a ciggy, you know, and I'd sit out there, and I'd go, oh, this is gold. This is just it, man. You know, this is awesome. You know, have my coffee, you know, this is living right here. And the problem was, when I had done that, for so many years, I had this same thing, this same habit, and then I go out on the veranda with my coffee, and it was like there was this thing missing, and I didn't know what to replace it with. And that's the same for us. When we make a decision to stop settling for things that are happening in our home life and things that are happening in our personal world, all of a sudden we can find ourselves in a place where we need to fill that gap with something else, because it's like, well, we've been so used to this for so long that we don't know how to fill it with something else. And what ends up happening, someone once described, you know, when you're driving along in the car and you've got this huge windscreen right in front of you and you can see a full view. We were at Witchy Proof this last week and speaking to 50 youth workers, and as we were about to leave, so we were leaving about 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, the principal of the school says, just be careful as you drive home, Phil, for all the kangaroos. I said, what? What do you mean, kangaroos? And she says, yeah, there'll be hundreds of kangaroos on your way home. And I'm thinking, all right, now I'm in the little Golf, right? Not in my big truck, so I'm in the little Golf. And I think if Roo hits my car, it's going to win. You know, not my car, the Roo, right? And so I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to keep high beam on, and I'm just going to watch the windscreen. I don't know if I even remember looking in the rear vision mirror, but you know the problem with the rear vision mirror is it can be this small in our life, and that's just like our lives. We can have all of this opportunity in front of us, and somehow when we can't see the road in front of us, we look in the rear vision mirror and go, you know what? Oh yeah, that's right. That was good back then. I liked back then. I liked hanging out with those young people. I liked hanging out with those mates. I liked having out. My life seems so empty right now. It feels like it's going nowhere. Even though I've got this big view in front of me of what my life could possibly be, somehow it seemed that I was missing out on all this stuff back here. And if you don't fill your life with something else in front of you, you will go backwards to the stuff you know. Why is that? Why do you go back to old behaviours? Anyone?
Because it's easier.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. Good one.
Change.
Pardon?
The change.
Change?
You're too used to it.
Yeah, you're used to it. It's familiar. I call it familiar. It's like a friend. I've had plenty of friends in my life that haven't been good influences, and yet I still hung out with them. Smoking was my friend. I know it seems weird, but that was one of those things I went to. Some of us, it's drinking. I've got a friend of mine who is a sex addict. Now that can seem quite weird, but he's a nice guy, right? But he's addicted to... No, don't point anybody out in the room right now. Well, that's you. There's nothing wrong with sex in the right context, okay? It's a very healthy thing to be doing.
Sharon.
All right.
Sharon.
So one of the reasons we have the lights off is because of the embarrassment right now, you know. So he's a sex addict. That doesn't mean he goes out and takes advantage of people. It just means that within him, in order to feel good about himself, he has an insatiable need to want to have sex with a girl. Luckily, his girlfriend is compliant to that, but probably not always, because it can never be satisfied, because there's something going on in him. Now, as I journey through with him about taking that sort of thirst away, he says, well, how do I stop this? What do I do? How do I fix that? How do I fill that with something else other than this? That's the hard one, guys. That's the tough one. When you make a decision to not settle for less in your family, that could cost you your home. You might be asked to leave home because you won't settle for less in that home environment. My dad said to me, when I was 17, I was going out with a slightly older lady, and he said to me, you either give her up or get out. So I got out. Why did I get out? Yep, because home life was crap. Here was a girl that loved me, or what I thought, at that time, at 17. This woman, loved me, and she made me feel great, and hung out with me, and she had money, which was really cool. So maybe she was a cougar, well, you know, whatever. But the reality was, for me, the home life was crap, so I didn't want to settle for that anymore, so I did this. I never went back home again when I was 17. Left home, that was it. I stayed out of home and I moved around, did all that sort of stuff, because I said I'm never settling for that environment again. It cost me my home life. I'm not saying to you that's what you have to do. But sometimes when we choose to step away from some of our friendship circles because of negative influence, it hurts. It's painful and it's lonely. If any of you are willing to share a settled for moment where you have said, no more, I don't want to settle for this, I'd rather move away, I want to give you a minute just to kind of come up here and share, or share from where you are. So you've made a decision, I'm not settling for less, and what does it cost you?
Well, I'd say when I moved out of home with my 4-year relationship, I moved out of home and I was living, you know, with him, and pretty much as soon as I figured out that my feelings had changed, I pretty much lost everything. Like, I lost my job, I lost my house, nearly lost my family. So yeah, in that sense, I moved back home and tried to fix everything up. But I'd just say, yeah, moving out of home and then, yeah, losing pretty much. So
sometimes we make a decision, we're not going to settle for less.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything else goes wrong. And you think, hang on a second. The trick right at that point is you could quite easily be so overwhelmed with that moment right there that you go back to what was an unhealthy environment because it just melts down. Yeah.
I settled with my mum because she used to abuse me, and then I left that situation and moved in with my grandma, who then also abused me. So now I'm with Dad. So I lost sort of 2 families in one and a lot of friends because I decided I didn't want to be in that situation anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was too draining physically and emotionally for me to go through that every day.
Yeah, good job.
And changing schools.
Good job. That takes great courage. I want to, in 2 seconds, I want to really be clear. One thing that we want to do here at Bridge Builders is never lie to you. I was going to use another word, but I remember we were on camera. And MJ had a hell of a time last week, editing last week's urination. But anyway, and I want to be really clear. Whenever you make a decision to not settle for less in your life, pain usually comes with it. It usually is a painful process. Relationships get stopped. Habits get broken. People that you know might say to you, I don't like who you're becoming. I need you to be back like that because it was more comfortable for them. It's very difficult to make a decision not to settle for less because sometimes it could cost you more than you bargained for. So make no mistake, it is still worth it. Because the freedom, who remembers the 2 outcomes from last week we spoke about? Do you remember? One was depression and one was relief. Good job. So the 2 outcomes is when you work through something, when you deal with something, when you don't settle for less anymore, all of a sudden relief begins to happen. Even if it's painful, even if there's a moment that feels like, this is like someone tearing the skin off me at this point, you will still have a healthier life because you will no longer settle for less in your life. It's not about flipping your finger at everybody and saying, up yours, I'm never going to deal with you again. We're not talking about being rebellious. We're not talking about being, having a tantrum. We're not talking about not getting your own way. Please don't mistake it. This is about something that's in your life that you're not settling for. If someone's trying to oppress you, crush you, hold you down, hold you back, stop you from achieving all that you can possibly be, that's a settle less situation. We're running a parenting seminar here on the 4th of May. May the 4th. On the 4th of May, I am not looking forward to running a parenting night thing, right? I'm not looking forward to that. For 15 years, I have avoided running parenting nights. Right? Why?
It's not your heart.
I don't... Who said that? Yeah. Good job. It's not my heart. It isn't. I don't like many parents I meet, just saying. And I'm one, so I can say it. I kind of like David. He's all right. But there are times, as a parent, I haven't liked me in the way that I've done things with my boys at times. I've tried to figure out what the hell is that? Where does that come from? Why am I DNA'd like that, environmented like that, whatever it is? How come I've settled for less in my boy's life and I've allowed that to happen? And I've made a decision with those guys and saying no more. So on May the 4th, I encourage your parents to come along. They may not like what they hear, but they're going to hear it from a parent. It's not about them coming along on that night and me telling them what they should give into for you, because you might not be in the right place to be getting what you're asking for. So my challenge to you tonight, guys, is simply this. We do these series because it matters that you get the truth. There is so much stuff around you that will stop you, block you and keep you in a place of oppression and in a place where you will not reach your full potential. How many of us just love that place? Not one. I'm out. I say no. That's me. Anyone else say no? I say no. Yeah, this is where you put your hand up if you say no. Right, so my hand's up here. I say no.
No.
No! Alright, I say no. The reality, guys, is simply this. You can settle for less. Now you can say, well, I'm 15, I'm 12, I'm 20, I'm 30. I don't care what age you are. I don't care what age you are. you will know when you're settling for less. And if you do not work through it, it will come around and come around and come around again and again and again. You will just keep revisiting the same thing over and over, and you'll think to yourself, I was talking to a friend of mine on the weekend, and she said to me, I just seem to attract this type of boy, you know? And I said, oh really? You know? And she says, yeah, the 6 guys that I've known have all been the same. I said, what do you mean? Were they like brothers? You know? And she said, no. She said, no, they were like this. And I said, oh, so who is that actually talking about when she says that? Her. Absolutely right, it's her. Maybe there's some stuff she needs to stop settling for and work through in order to have what she actually deserves. But sometimes we don't think we are actually worth it, so we settle for all the time. I have come across thousands, girls, this is for you. I have come across thousands of girls in 30 years who have settled for less when it comes to boys or other, if you're same-sex attracted, come across other women in their world who that they have settled for less in a relationship because of how they feel about them. If only I could have this guy, if only I could have that girl, I would feel better about myself. It's a lie. It is a lie. You are settling for less. Stop settling for less. If you can deal with it now. Gentlemen, let me tell you, having some girl just hang off you is not the way it needs to go. Or some guy, if you're same-sex attracted, I don't care. This has got nothing to do with gender. This has got to do with you as an individual. Gentlemen, if you find yourself attracted to someone and you feel like this person completes me, you know, it is not always the truth. You need to first know what you need as a person, what your gaps are. If you haven't figured that out, you will settle for less. The same stuff will happen in your life over and over and over again. It just will. And it will not stop no matter how old you get. It just won't. Guarantee it. I have met people in their 80s who are still regretful of some of the decisions they did not work through, some of the things they did not work through. So guys, tonight, when you go into your pack, I want to encourage you to this week, take some time for you. Take some time for you to think about what are the areas of I'm going to talk seriously. If you are talking to your friend this week and go, why does this keep happening? If you're saying that to someone, then you're settling for less for whatever that area is in your life. Why does this keep happening? If you find yourself unemployable, maybe you need to ask someone the question, the honest reason. Why is it I'm unemployable? And if they're asking you that question, you better be prepared to give them an honest answer. Otherwise, you are continuing to help them settle for less. If you cannot develop a strong, healthy, ongoing relationship with someone, you need to stop and take a look at what's going on in your life. If you can't tell someone honestly how you're feeling and what you think about them, if things come to a messy situation, a relationship, whatever it is, if you can't tell them, you're going to settle for less, you're going to work around, all the time work around. I can't tell you how many times I've avoided things. I've avoided 1,000 conversations because I just didn't want to work through it. But it just keeps coming around. Just keeps coming around. And then I feel bad for a long time. I've been around a long time, so I can say that, right? So guys, tonight, this is not a downer. This is a moment where you get to, in the darkness here, get an opportunity to reflect about your life, because it matters. You as an individual, Georgia, Tyler, Riley, whoever you are, Fred, Barney or Wilma, whoever you are sitting in this room, you are worth it. You are of value, and no matter what your sister, what your brother, what your step things, whatever it is, your grandparents, your parents, your people that look after you, I don't care who or what it is, if you are not willing to look at those things in your life and where you settle for less, then you will experience pain over and over and over again. It is painful. There's no question. Yes, the people left the room because something is painful. Are we good? You're never going to get bullshit here at Bridge Builder. Sorry, MJ. You're never going to get it. You're going to get the truth. And sometimes it peels back stuff that's painful. That doesn't mean you can fix it. But there are people in this room who can. It's okay. It doesn't have to be awkward. It's okay to be not okay. Do you know that? It's okay to be not okay. It's only for a season. It's only for a moment. It's only for a time.
Sometimes.
Pardon?
That can be me sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Billy,
I'm okay. Sometimes I'm okay, sometimes I'm not.
Sorry, say that again.
Are you trying to say that if we like someone, we should tell them?
Why not?
Because I've done that before.
Yeah. What do you open yourself up for?
I told this guy at my theatre group how I felt about him.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely flattered.
Yeah.
The only problem is he has a girlfriend.
As they always do.
Good on you.
Courage to you, love. You know, courage to you. The timing, yeah, you might want to wait on the timing. But,
That's one good thing.
yeah.
At least he knows how I feel.
Right, now I've heard that my entire life, right? People say, well, at least they know how I'm... I couldn't go through my life without letting you know how I feel.
And I had the guts to say it.
Good job. Again, wisdom is this. It's not what you say. It's the way you say it. It's also the when. Timing is everything. But if you've got a window, an opportunity, you could create some conflict. I think you probably did, you know, but that's okay. Be okay with people not being okay. Do we get that part? Do you understand what that means? It's okay for you no longer to be wearing a veneer, a mask that's hiding everything. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay not to settle for less, but it could be a painful process for you. It has always been a painful process for me. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was marshmallows and flowers, but it ain't. All right? I like marshmallows. I'll throw away the flowers. No, but, I eat the marshmallows. So, guys, tonight, I encourage you, please, in your life right now, regardless whether you talk about it in your pack, regardless about whether you talk about it with your best mate, I don't care. I want you to make a little phone note listing, whatever it is, when you're sitting on the loo for a while, men, you know, make a note, and make a note about the things in your life that are settling for, but give yourself time to change. It ain't going to change tomorrow. You just need to ease up a little bit and go, you know what? In 2016, I'm going to change this. 1 degree at a time over the course of the year, you'll end up in a totally different place, totally different perspective than you were at the start of the year. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some time to say, you know what, I don't have to fix this tomorrow. I don't need a relationship tomorrow. I might want one by the end of the year. Well then, are you ready for that one at the end of the year? It's only about 240 days to the end of the year anyway. That's not a long time. So guys, tonight, as we close this entire series, it's not over. The settling for less. You have heard that phrase, do not settle for less. That will echo in your mind now for the rest of your life. Soz, not soz, you know. The fact is, you will find yourself in situations where you are settling for less and you need to be strong. Right at that point, you need to be strong and say, you know what, I'm no longer settling for less. If you don't, if you choose to settle for less, around it you'll go again. Guaranteed. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? Please don't turn on the lights. You know, it's not. It's what they call sobering. It makes us think about your life. I don't care whether you're 12 or whether you're 60 sitting in this room, I don't care. The reality is you can stop and you can say, I'm no longer going to settle for less, I'm going to change my life. There will be pain, but there'll also be some extraordinary opportunities come your way. I have been so blessed when I've stopped settling for less, and I have seen amazing friendships flourish. I've said no. I met David out of that simple thing. As I said, I no longer want to hang out with some of these people. I need new friends. That's how I met David. And I thank God for him, because it's an amazing bond and friendship that we have. You know, he would be my wife, you know. I would not be, I'd be the husband, right? So, you know, the reality is there's a fantastic friendship. He's going, behind me, I know. You know, but the reality is there are men and women in my world now that I would never have had friendship and relationship with if I'd settled for less all my life. So guys, let me encourage you, at whatever age you are, whatever your circumstances, do not settle for less in your life any longer. This has to be the moment where you say, so now what? Now, to fill it with something else, you need help, right? So as we close off tonight, if you have gaps in your life, in relationship, you need to talk to someone about that, whether it's your pack leader or somebody else. You need to talk to somebody else about that. If it's stuff that's going on in your family, have the courage to talk about it with someone else. I'm not talking about someone that can't help either. I'm talking about someone that can give you some wisdom and some strategies on how to help. It's no point just having what we call a cheer squad, just telling someone and they just go, yeah, your mum's a bitch. You know, like that's not going to be helpful, right? It might make you feel better, right, for that moment, but it's not going to change. You need some people around you that can help strategies, give you strategies to help fulfill the gap. When you leave home, or whether you end a relationship, whether you're giving up an addiction, whatever it is, you need to be able to fill it with something else. It could be sport. It could be doing something that you've never done before. For me, I started playing the ukulele. For me, I started dancing again. For me, I bought a bus. For me, I'm buying a Harley. For me, I like to travel. For me, I started my own massage business. For me, that's what I did. Because I said I wasn't going to settle for less any longer. For you, what is it? What is that thing, those things, those people, those relationships that you want to be different? So guys, tonight, when you go into your pack, it doesn't have to be, oh, my life sucks balls. It doesn't have to be like that. It just has to be, I'm going to make a decision tonight. From tonight, I'm going to give myself some time to not settle for less. And when I remove these things in my life, plan it. When I stop doing these things, what am I going to fill that gap with? Because what will happen is if you don't fill that gap with something else, you'll just fall back into old behaviours. Is that helpful for you? Yeah. Good job. Let's get into packs tonight. We'll go. Yep.